All right. So for the audience, Roger and I have been wrapping out here. We've been talking about Macho Man Randy Savage. We've been talking about just different visions of the way that we should introduce the show, whether it's audio or visual. Just too much to go into, but here we are. So we're just beginning the episode right in the middle of our conversation. Roger and I are meeting each other for the first time, which for the listeners who listen every week, they know that this is how I like to meet somebody because it's, I have my natural curiosity I bring to it. Roger obviously has a lot of energy. You're a super creative guy and you like to have fun. And I love that.
Dude, I'm honored to be here and sit and talk with you, dude. I feel like I've known you a minute already, and it's been 8 minutes. So that's pretty impactful. I feel great. If I feel like I'm shouting, it's just the way that I am. Or you won't be like, what do you say? I got 2 volumes. So if you need me to speak up, say it. If you need me to shush, you let me know.
No, you're all good. You're all good, brother. I'm going to introduce you for the audience who doesn't know you. You're a Park City hairdresser who focuses on cutting. In my opinion, you've got the coolest videos on Instagram. And I mean, that's saying a lot at this point because there's a lot of videos on Instagram and our community, and yours are just fucking, I'm gonna curse. I should have probably warned the audience because I drop F-bombs selectively, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kids in the car of the listeners. So for that, I apologize, but I'm gonna curse. Your videos are fucking awesome. I love them because they're visual and they're technical. And I think for people who are creative and visual primarily, who maybe don't do so well with like proportions and numbers and stuff like that, you know what to do when you watch one of your videos. You just do innately. So anyway, we're going to get into that. You're with Sam Via Education and with Pivot Point too. Anything else do you want to say as far as your introduction before we keep going?
No, man. No, I mean, I've been with Instagram for a long time, like signed up a long time ago, and I just decided to put a little bit of sweat into it this last year. And by the course of things, it really ended up, I had to go home. I had to take some time. We're in St. Louis these last like 3 months. And that's when I've really put grind to axe. And the rest is, I don't even understand it. Most of the time I'm like, wait, what happened? Who said that? Oh, that's awesome. I'll take pictures of things when I get something from someone that really matters, and it feels surreal most of the time. And hopefully it stays like that for like the rest of my life. Like, I can't believe this is happening. But yeah, I can't believe this is happening. And I'm stoked that I'm being on yours. Like, you know, all these things that people have been doing for so long, they've earned so many stripes. And I posted here and there, but I didn't really understand what it means to say every week, I'm going to do this, I'm going to stick to it. I was always like, I don't know about those people, those guys. They were not real until it got real. And then I realized how fucking real it is and how hard it is and how deep it goes.
Interesting. And so what you're talking about right now generally is that, well, first of all, what are you in St. Louis for?
We had to come down for family, and we've been down here since the summer, you know.
Okay. From Park City, which is where you work most of the time?
We lived up there and had been living up there about 1.5 years, probably coming up on 2. I grew up in San Diego, but went to Utah to work with Lunatic Fringe.
Yep.
And met Jared and Bree Briggs at the Park City location, and was just like, dude, I love these people. Partnered with them and just started working really hard there to build with them, and it turned into just way more than I could expect. But right around the time when everything started to really turn electric, we kind of had to come back here. So that was just recently. So we still travel up there and work and do, you know, as many clients as we can in a couple of weeks, and then come back.
And when you say we, who are we talking about?
My partner, Ellen Devine.
Okay. So you're in St. Louis now. Are you, and you got some personal stuff you're dealing with. So you've been there for 3 months. You said that you've put the grindstone to the axe, or the axe to the grindstone, meaning you've gotten serious about executing on some vision of content. Is that what you're saying? Okay, and so you've produced these videos, which I strongly recommend everybody go to Roger Molina Hair on Instagram. Are you on TikTok too?
I am, but I am more prevalent and work harder on the Instagram side.
Okay.
But I still post on TikTok. Same thing, Roger Molina Hair.
Okay. All right. So you've put all this effort in. You've committed to it. You're talking about the difference between just kind of recognizing that content could be better versus actually committing to it and doing it consistently over a period of time, which I think probably the same friction that most people experience when they are just kind of moving through their career. They recognize that they could do something better, but they haven't really committed to doing it better on a daily basis, including the days that they don't feel like doing it.
Yeah, there's so many days where you're just like, not today, bro. The idea of like going down in the dungeon, because I film in my basement. So the idea of coming down here on a lot of days, I'm like, if I don't have something that's inspired, that's why the key is that. Like, the key is just to like find the reason. You got to really keep trying to find the reason and the thing to do. What's the thing you're trying to do? That comes first. Like, what to shoot is always pretty easy, but the thing you're trying to do, that's what takes time.
Yeah. So what do you specifically tell yourself when you don't feel like going down into the dungeon and making these videos that are going to inspire thousands and thousands of hairstylists?
Well, I know that by now, if we're still going to just keep going on, you have to really take inspiration from the things around you. Like, here's an extreme and literal and probably terrible example. The saw that's in the background right now. When I'm shooting, sometimes that can be the axe that drives right through what I'm trying to build. And I'll be like, you know what, forget it. And I'll just go upstairs and I'll end up doing something else and I'll be putting away dishes before you know it. And babe's like, oh, great. But I forgot what I was doing and I left it and I gave up. Or I could think about the saw that I hear and now it's stopped. Of course. But if you can think about that saw or that noise that you hear in the distance and imagine what they're doing, like somewhere somebody's building a box or refining something or building a new structure. Maybe they're building a deck.
Tile. They're putting tile outside of my office. And I told Donovan that it might be an issue, but it's been off.
But see, here, stay the course with me. If you see that thing and you imagine what's happening out there and you start to build boxes out of it, and now you know that it's tile, I start to envision, is it white or is it gray or do they sit these different ways? And I can entertain the idea of what's happening out there and let it start to work into my creativity instead of being like, that fucking sound. Because when I record now, I'm given the opportunity, because I don't take a lot of video anymore. I get a lot more pictures in my work. So there's no audio that ever needs to be kept. But then I get it ready and I got the perfect voiceover ready and I hear the saw and I'll be like, damn it, and maybe I was going to say the wrong thing at that time. So somebody somewhere wanted me to stop. And I go upstairs and I walk out and I'm like, well, might as well take my shoes off and stand on the grass for a minute. And then almost every time, I'm like, sure as shit, dude, you'll be like, I shouldn't say that. I should say this. And the obstacles in the world are a lot of the times the objects that are going, no. Look over here, look over there. So don't get frustrated. And when it feels like it's frustration, a total reset is like shoes off, stand on the grass. Today the wind's blowing, so the leaves are going so perfect. Like, I took like 10 minutes and I even came and got Ellen and brought her back outside and was like, just listen to what's blowing out here. Because it's not very often we get to just take time and sit in the middle of the country and listen. So that's really where you got to, like, a reset is key. And I don't know how I ended up there. What were we talking about?
Well, you've delved into just a tremendous description of a glass half full kind of reframing exercise. which is amazing. And I'm the father of 2 kids, and 11 and 12 now, and I'm seeing them as little humans go through and try to learn how to navigate the day every day. And so they'll bitch and complain, because I think human nature has us being more negative than positive. They'll bitch and complain about something, and then I'll try to teach them how to reframe it in just about the exact same way that you're doing it. And I think it's lost on them most of the time. But hopefully, if I continue to encourage them to do that kind of exercise, to recognize that that thing that seems negative can actually be a positive if you allow it to, it will.
Well, it can. It can. But you gotta be willing to like reset. I think my nephew is a genius, dude. He comes up to me all the time and goes, or when we were out there visiting this last time, at least 2 or 3 times, something came up. It's like, it's not working. Oh, I'll reset it. And he was like, just hit reset, Mom. My mom's like, this damn app or this thing won't, Mom, just reset it. And he'd come up and like hold the buttons and blip, blip, and it'd come back on, and she'd be like, oh, there you go. Little genius, I think that because those things are modeled after us, we're kind of modeled after it. And if inspiration's not there, that doesn't mean necessarily the grass is the only thing that's going to get it. Maybe there's something deeper. Maybe like, turning the phone off for the day all the way is what you need to do instead of going out and filming another one that day. But just being open to what's supposed to happen, because we can work so hard on something, but if it's the wrong thing, it's the wrong thing. It's got to be the right thing first, and then what feels right, now let's do that with like passion or whatever you call it in your language.
Mm-hmm. And this could be very valuable to a behind-the-chair hairstylist who gets a lot of inputs throughout the day from others, right? And there could be a lot of negativity coming in from a couple clients. Maybe the first client of the day is late
right.
and comes in, and you thought you were going to be doing a simple cut, and the next thing you know, it's a color correction, and she's not being nice and all this, How can somebody use this kind of strength of mind to make sure that they make the best out of the day as possible?
I mean, first thing in the morning is always key, My place is 9:30. Like if we start at 10 and Lunatic Fringe, I got to get there at 9:30. And that's the first time that's been like the way things are. I've run my own businesses and been renters and been commissions for decades now in different environments all over our country. And this is the first time that I've like, you're getting here 30 minutes early every time, no matter what. And it feels kind of like a ball and chain. But truthfully, I'm never not ready at 10. And that's the first time in my life that I've had that. I've been cutting out time to get ready happens for, I think, and I mean this with all respect, but people that do more makeup and do more preparation on themselves, they kind of cut that time out to get ready no matter what. And so getting these things all applied, but that has its own frequency, You drop your makeup and it spills over and the damn thing, and where's my little brush? And yeah, it gets frustrating. That ends up not being time. The secret to life and success and happiness, I think, is time. And you got to block it out just like you do your day. Your application takes you 15 or 30 minutes, and then you can double book it in the 30-minute mark. And then another 30 minutes later, you're going to start that first one and then the triple book. And however deep you take your day, if you don't take 15 little minutes in the very beginning and get it set up and get it right, it won't go right. And if the first 10, o'clock appointment or 11 o'clock appointment that you have comes in and throws you off of balance, it's so hard to get it back. But if you're imbalanced, like, this is too complicated, erase all that. Think of it like this. If people were standing on 2 good feet, like if I was standing up and I'm like, all right, ready. Okay, Raj, get ready. Okay, I'm ready. Okay, I'm going to shove the crap out of you, bro. You ready? I'm going to push you super hard. Boom, and they hit me. I'd be like, oh, okay, thanks for warning me, bro. But if I was like this, and chilling and looking at my phone and somebody just went bam and hammered me, I'd be like, what the hell was that, right?
Yeah.
The same exact thing happened. But the difference is when you're like this, when you're like, okay,
And you're balanced. So for the listeners, Roger's got kind of like almost like a football stance. He's got his feet out, and he's got his center of gravity is kind of down, and he's like ready for impact.
Ready for impact. Like, but the truth is that I was paying attention. I had my full alert, and I was understanding that something's probably going to come at me pretty soon, so get ready for it. And understanding that that's going to happen probably almost every day of your life, if not at 10, but at 10:30 or 12 or 1, or you got to be kind of ready for that thing going in. My personal thing is just being read up in the morning, or whatever you do to kind of relax, whatever you do to ground. That's the key to success, is making sure that happens first.
I love it. I love it. Very, very important mindset, and hopefully the listeners are getting a lot from that. Okay, so I want to kind of backtrack a little bit. I want to know more about you. Where are you from originally? Well, you said you're from San Diego already. You're from San Diego, California. How did you get into this business? Maybe go back even a little bit before. Like, what kind of kid were you? What kind of childhood? And then, how did you get into this business?
Wow, dude. Well, I was born in Texas. Dad was in the military, so we moved to the West Coast, San Diego. And Dad left the world when I was a young little grom. But
I'm sorry.
No, man. I mean, the pilot of life is always been at the helm no matter what. So we steered and stayed and became West Coasters. And my mom raised me and my brother from a young age, and never really had her own passion or career. She always worked here and there, and did what she could. Single moms out there, I really understand how hard they work, but also wanted to be young too, dude, and wanted to have her own life. So my family kind of stepped in, my aunts and my uncles and everybody around me, and family friends. And some of my family friends, Regina Miranda Acosta, which is Regina, I think, Glam Hair or something like that. I'll make sure you got that. Mm-hmm. But she basically said to me one day, hey, have you ever considered doing this? You'd be good at it. At that time, I had a band, and I was like, my band's going to be rad, and what do you believe in my band? But the truth was that she was like, you could talk to just about anybody. You see, life in a weird way. And I think it would be good to think about it. And I was like, okay. So I went and got a job at her salon, went to hair school. Then we got offered to go on a tour, so dropped out, went on tour.
With the band.
With the band. It was called Noise Ratchet. It was back in the days, emo, young, and Disturbed, what? But, in those days in the 90s and 2000s, even more 2000s, I guess, it was a movement. Music was a movement, and you were on stage with people, and you guys, really meant it. And these were my songs that were I had written songs. And my singers sang them all the time. And so you had this sort of you were always putting on a show. And it wasn't a show, but it was when you looked out at a couple hundred kids or 1,000 kids or sometimes more, you singing the words, you'd be like, they understand it, dude. Those guys get it. And then you could walk on them, literally. You could jump out in the audience and stand on them, and they would hold you in the air. And it felt like this glorious moment. It felt like this incredible, unbelievable, escapable ending. It was just everything's going so fast, and it really did. Music came and went so fast, and it was the touring and the action. It was too much to handle for us. Signed to the big label. Don't you know we're on Rick Rubin's label? We thought we made it, and we did, really, but it became about what was mine. And he said, no, that's mine. And I said, no, that's mine. And that's the undertone.
Hold on, your bandmates?
Yeah. And it was somehow was never really just mine. I realized that it was always going to take everyone else to be in a band with, and whatever he was feeling that day or whatever they wanted. I was like, what can I create that's just mine? And then I can choose who I want to play music with, in a sense. And so I always was trying to find something that I could do that with. And when hair hit, here's what happened. I went to my first hair show. and I saw Vidal Sassoon's team. It wasn't Vidal, but it was his team, and I think Hartley maybe was there, but there was a girl in the morning doing updos. This girl who worked for Alterna, I'll never know her name, but she was the one who had this magic, all this prepared, perfect ponytails and these like geisha tie-offs and stuff. And I was all, oh, my mind was like bent at first. And I was like, wait, what? Because it was a show. It was music. Honestly, there was music playing that was part of the show. You know how hair shows are, dude? That beat is just as much. They're like, 1, 2, 3, release, turn, bow. She walks, and I was like, whoa, this is real. Oh my God, this is a real thing. And I like tapped the girl who told me, Regina, on the shoulder. It was like, I'm going to do that. Oh, look at this. This is fantastic. And that's when she was like, you know, I think she said to me something like, you know, we all really want to do that, or, you know, something. I was like, yeah, but I'm going to do that. And that show, and then another show happened, and then we went to the show floor, and I was like, what the fuck is going on in here? It was Long Beach show, Ice Long Beach show. First thing I ever saw was Ice Long Beach show.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's the whole amazing story, dude. That's literally all the way through, like, my first interaction with hair.
Okay, so I'm very interested in these kind of, well, you maybe had your initial passion, which is music, and then you have a competing passion which comes up, which is hair, and you're definitely not the first one who's ever started with music and kind of transitioned into hair. And of course, you're always going to have a passion for music, but you like had a real shot at making music a career. I don't know if I've ever spoken to a hairstylist on the show who actually had a real shot actually making a living doing music. How did that end?
You know, we were making the record. We made a record at Sound City, which is a legendary, if you're not sure, there's a documentary on Sound City. It's a LA-based one. It was where they recorded, Nevermind by Nirvana, Fleetwood Mac, Rumors, amazing. Johnny Cash, you know, bunch of records, Tom Petty, you name it.
Legendary.
Yeah, it was like getting to sit with some of the greats and some of the legends in there every day and every week. And, you know, we had been on the road and been going for years, man. It was probably like, I jumped in at 19. We were on the road till probably I was 23 or 4, 3. And so when I went back to hair school, you know, it was because I just couldn't take everything that was happening. And there was like too much competition at the studio. They wanted me to get out of all these like friendships that I had, to cancel out my life and be just with the band. And I just didn't understand it. Like everybody wanted us, we were already living in LA, but it seemed like something wanted it to come apart, bro. The best thing I can explain is that something was working on it so hard to break it apart. That's all that I can imagine. It was the truth. Because now that I don't have so much regret or guilt anymore, although I think if I really had the right way to say it to forgive myself, it would be that if I would have acted different, it would have been different. But I didn't. And so they didn't. And we ended up just being like, you know what, let's just not be this band anymore. Hey? And we got this great amount of success. Everybody loves us. This record's probably going to come out no matter what. It didn't end up coming out. Oh. But that would have been the one that was on American or Island Def Jam, which was Rick Rubin's label. So we were already being limelighted and been recorded and living in LA for so long. But what actually happened, bro, is I started thinking that it was mine. And he started thinking it's mine. And he started thinking it's mine. So the lesson is, realize that nothing that you have today is actually yours. Everything that you have in this world that's either a lesson or something you own was given to you. You might have earned it. You might have made the money and bought that thing. But the reality is the money was given to you by the resource comes from a source, and all that stuff is getting handed to you because it was supposed to. the good, the bad, the deficit, the positive. And don't worry about that. Don't let what happened then keep you from what you're supposed to do now. That's the message. Like, whatever happened in the past that made you fear, whatever that person said in the post that kept you from trying, fuck that guy. Make yourself vulnerable again, because the next person that comes along could say, hey, I really needed this.
Absolutely.
What if they say, hey, I really needed this? You know, and you almost didn't post it. And
Right.
maybe it's just one, or maybe someday it'll be 100, or maybe in 10 days from now with one post, it'll be 10,000. That happens. That shit happens. It happened to me literally. And I'm the worst hairdresser in this land, dude. I was breaking bobby pins and burning people and making people cry and crying myself. And I went from like stomping out fear after fear after fear. And to this day, still stomp out fear after fear after fear that what are they going to say? I literally think all the time, dude, what if DJ sees this and thinks you're doing it wrong, mate? Don't call it that. I think that all the time. Or what if I think, oh, Matt, one of the guys who also raised me, Matt, in like my first hair school, he would always turn my hand. And so I always hear him going, ah, 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 when I would start going too far or not far enough. Ah, 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 ah. Like, I still hear those voices in my mind and think, you're not good enough to claim this position and say that this is what you're allowed to do. You're not. Don't do it. But that's a lie too. It's the same one that told me that in my band, you guys shouldn't be doing this. Somebody else will step in and take over. You're not doing it right, so quit doing it at all. It's the same force that's working on the world right now and trying to get everybody to throw in a towel. We need to just be together, believe in it, post something. When you see something you like, love it. If you see something you hate, shut up. Let's scroll right past it. Just go past it. Let it go. Stop all the hate that we say to each other. Just start encouraging the shit out of everyone with everything that they post and see what happens, dude. If you plant flowers, there's flowers all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Absolutely. No, it's beautiful. One of my favorite sayings is, some will like it. It's the 4 SWs. Some will like it. Some won't like it. So what? Somebody's waiting. In other words, somebody's waiting for you to put something out there again. So you put it out there for those who need it. You don't worry about those who don't like it. You just ignore them.
Dude, that's a genius.
And it's
look, so what? And then
it's so the 4 SWs. Yeah. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting.
Someone's waiting. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
I was like, it's a W. It's a W. Someone's waiting. Okay.
Yeah, someone's waiting for you to be out there doing what you do. So in other words, do it for the people, do it for your fans, do it for the people who like what you're doing. There's, of course, always going to be people who don't like what you're doing. Let's look at the extreme example of this. Who's really hot right now in music? Taylor Swift, okay? Taylor Swift is really hot in music. She's printing money doing her concert. Right? Thousands of dollars to go see her, to sit in the nosebleed section costs $1,000, right? Yeah. I know this, unfortunately, because my 12-year-old daughter wants to go so badly. And I'm like, babe, I will never spend $1,000 to go to a concert, okay? So, but I understand you love Taylor Swift, okay? So Taylor Swift is so popular that she's now selling movie tickets. So I bought my daughter and a bunch of her little girlfriends tickets to go to the movie to see one of Taylor Swift's concerts, okay? $20 each. So I spent $200 or whatever. And so now a bunch of little girls and my wife are going to go watch Taylor Swift's concert in the movie theater. Okay,
that's amazing, dude. I'd go.
So here's Taylor Swift. You know how many haters Taylor Swift has? Countless.
Yeah, dude. The world,
countless.
Dude. Raised on Disney, you can guarantee it, dude. If you come from Disney, dude, you're gonna guarantee hate almost always, except for Tay Tay. Tay Tay beat it. She's out.
So many haters Taylor Swift has, but she doesn't care about her haters. She just keeps going. Okay, so. She lives by the 4 SWs, and she's an extreme example, but I think all of us can take something from that.
Dude, I think that's a brilliant example because, just recently, I just got to talk to Gerard, like what you're saying. And Taylor Swift came up with Scarpacey. Taylor Swift came up with him too. And I literally said, just recently, one of her quotes was a pretty, huge. I was having one of those days. Did you have a day where you like look at it and you think, oh, that one I posted yesterday was brilliant. Everybody's going to love it. And then I like go look in the morning. It's like, you can't call it that. You know, somebody take his scissors before he hurts somebody. And I'm just like, whoa, hey, hey. You know? And then like, I think I might have put my phone down, and then I talked to my partner, Ellen, again. And I was like, dude, you kind of like, we vent to each other when somebody says something like that. And I said, I just wish everybody would like, just leave me alone and let me do my shit, Yeah. But that's not really what I mean. I just wish they wouldn't say that's crap,
Right.
And then like I picked up my phone and went to Instagram or whatever it was that I went to next. And it was literally like Taylor Swift being like, no matter what people say to you, which Instagram's always listening, everyone. Right. But they say, no matter what people say to you, don't quit making your art. Like you could sing about it. You could write about it. You could say like, if you need to like go after someone in your song, whatever it takes, do it. But don't quit making the song itself. No matter what it's about in the end, just keep making it. Always just keep freaking making it. And you could tell it almost seemed like she was talking to a child. And I mean that with all the respect. Like when you talk to a kid, you're like, all right, buddy. All right. When we open this door, there's going to be a bunch of people standing right outside the door. It's going to get crazy, but just keep looking at me. And we're going to walk across and it's going to be everything's going to be okay. If you get scared, grab my hand. Right? Like you give them the setup before you go running out into it. And I feel like that's how she was talking to the people who are struggling with this. The people who are like, you know what? Maybe I need to take a break. Maybe like a couple weeks off isn't such a bad thing. The reality is that the world right now is really busy, heavy communicating, but everybody's communicating about a couple things and it's all super heavy. So in order to make the white dot back to the yin and the yang, because one's black and one's white, in order to put things back in the right balance, we have to like almost do double time of creating something that people love and people can get inspiration from. And people are going to like, some people are going to hear this and resonate with it. There's going to be, I don't know, a couple, maybe there's just the one, but so what? If that one person hears this and says, you know what, I do need to start being a voice for what I think. It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong, dude. There's only one person in this room right now. Me. And the truth is, that's the way the world is. You guys are probably all sitting in your one room by yourself and making a decision on this post. And so stand strong in it. This is what I feel. This is what I want. This is what I'm saying. Boom, and post it with passion, power, expectation. That's when it starts to happen. If I was going to prepare a dissertation to take a fucking exam or like go to be a lawyer or be a doctor, I'd have to get ready for that one big test. And then I'd have to study and prepare. And then when I had everything ready, I would go, here, this is what I got. You have to do that every day with that post. You have to care about it like that. You have to see it as something when people find this, they're going to go, fucking been waiting for that. And it'll unlock something inside of people, but you have to really get on the quest of what that is for each individual. Mine happens barefoot, outside, standing in those grass and going, show me, dude. Anybody that's out there, if you're God or a source or my cousin who's not here or my uncle or my ancestor who's been gone for 1,000 years, show me what's missing. Show me how to inspire people, move a mountain. I feel like the fucking world is collapsing. I need to move mountains for people, and we need to do it now. We need to start making a difference right now. We don't have like a whole bunch of time, I don't think, to just stand around and see what happens and hopefully everybody will be okay. We've been doing that for 2 years. Enough is enough. We need to start standing up for people, standing up for hairdressers. Like, consider where everyone's at and meet them in that place, and you already have that following. The people that are watching this right now that have 100 or 200 or 600, so what? If you gain 5 this week and 10 next week and 30 next week, like I had a point in time where I was getting thousands a day of new followers, and it was overwhelming. It was a flood, and I wasn't ready, dude. for the hate and the love, and I wasn't ready. So get out of that mindset that one day I'll get there and then I'll do it then. Stop doing that. Let yourself start now and think about these things with a wakeful expectation and start looking at what your map looks like. If someone came and looked at your page right now, what does it look like? What does it say? Who are you? And if they find something in there, did you want them to find that? And think about it and really put anchors on the ground so you can be ready. So when something happens in that one, because it happens in one post, guys. You can, like, I put up the bullet on Sunday at 7:30 when we flew to Park City. I had made it at home. I said, babe, I had a dream that I was making one of these stop motions that I used to do with Hugo a long time ago. Hugo Urias showed me how to make these 10, 12 years ago. I don't know why I'm crying, dude. But so I wake up in the morning and I'm having this dream and I see it all mapped out in my mind. I'm like, oh, okay. It's like flat ironed in the air and it's like, it's picture by picture and I see it. And I had been making my studio ready for days. So there's another one. I had just been grinding my studio away. Babe, what's with this studio? She kept saying, what's with this studio? And I'm like, I don't know. I have to just get it ready. And I'm talking now all whispery and breathy because I don't know why. I just got emotional. But like when I was telling her, I was just like, I'm not sure, Bob. I just got to go down there and film it. It was like first thing in the morning. And she's like, okay. And I'm still down there at night. And she's like, are you coming up? Blinking the light on and off. Can you hear me? And I woke up from that dream and I knew exactly what it was. But the truth was that I was seeking it so hard, dude. I was like, show me something that stands the test of time. Show me something that improves right now. I feel like all my life I've been waiting for something to reveal itself. And I'm fucking sick of waiting. I want it now. I was like, I had it by the throat and I was saying, against all odds, against everything else that's happening, I want to just see what I need to see now. Now. And sometimes that's how you have to chase it. In the dream was two things happening. The dream that I was having, and I'm going to reset. But the dream that I had, I was shooting and I was so frustrated. You know when you burn yourself with a flat iron and then you get hairspray on it and then you burn it and then you get hairspray on it and you're like, ow! I was making this video in my dream and I was burning the shit out of myself. I was bleeding everywhere and I was so frustrated that it wasn't working. And it's like I could take my head off and see myself at that point, and something like almost took me outside of my body and said, stand back here and watch. And I watched myself and it said, now do it like a 90s photographer, baby. It's like, no, love. No, babe, you get it all wrong, love. Let me see oh, right, there we go. Give me respect. That's what I'm looking for. Yes,
Roger's blowing his long locks all over the place. Yeah, it's very Linda Evangelista.
That's how the love of what he was doing was. So instead of being frustrated and mad and burning myself, I needed to switch into this other form of creation. You need to be like, yeah, baby. And that in my dream, I saw this man who was like, you've a photographer or been around photography and seen people shooting over the years and decades. Mm-hmm. You know when a photographer is on. Mm-hmm. You've been in the room when they're shooting something and you're trying and it's like, click, click. Maybe you try the other outfit, eh? Or click, click. Oh, so make sure there's a piece of hair there, love. You need to dangle that. And maybe some more wind or something. Let's try something. I don't know. Do something, love. And then you've been in the room when the photographer goes, get out of the way. Bang, 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 bang. And you go to step in. He goes, no. Dack, 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 dack. And then the room starts gluing to it and people start to come to it. That's what I'm talking about. That's that sort of like premeditated energy. That's if you're in the salon and you're going to film in the salon. You have to have that sort of exuberant, expansive enthusiasm. And I don't mean interrupt their quiet conversation and start loud flashing everywhere, but you have to think of it in that way and you have to nurture it in that way, the way that you feel about it when you shoot it. That is as much a part as what it looks like as the rest of it. And no matter what you say or do or anything to it, you have to, before you go down there, before you go in there, before you get ready to shoot it, you have to say, okay, in my mind, I'm going to zing this. This is what a weird light worker weirdo taught me how to do at a crystal shop in San Diego. You have to zing this. Zinging this means that you turn all your energy into this thing. You push it up to the front of your mind and you think about it. And he asked me at that time, what's something that you love? I told him my nephew, River. And like, okay, when you think about him, what do you want to do? And if you got a child, this comes easy. I want to pick him up, dude. I want to like rub his head, dude. I want to bite his ear, dude. I want to get over here. Just let me, I want to eat you, fucking eat you. I love you that much. So that amount of affection and love and enthusiasm that you have towards that child, you have to take that, keep that, and put it into this other thing. And you have to be willing to go, oh, my little baby, and dwell on it and think about it and save it as a draft and look at it tomorrow again and refine it a little bit and go over the words again and Google the hashtags that are going to be best for this post now and think about it and keep marinating on those posts. And I have drafts in a good week. I have like 4 drafts in my box ready to post. And I'm trying to decide which one's the right one for the day. And I'm thinking about it like they are my child. Because I've got them to the place where I'm like, oh, this week I got flat top mullet. I'm dying to show the flat top mullet on Sunday. The one that I put up on Sunday, you know, I thought it was going to go through the roof, bro. I thought it was going to enter into the million category again. I was going to feel great, but it's only at 70,000. And somehow that makes a big impact on how I feel that day. Yeah. And I got to be willing to manage these things and care about it enough to chart the waters. Yeah. Because if you were leaving town today and you were going on a big trip somewhere, you guarantee there's going to be some shit along the way, bro. You guarantee you're going to get a flat tire here. And if you were 1,000 years ago sailing across the seas and the boats and the oceans, there's been obstacles along the way for everyone. Every time somebody did something significant, there was significant obstacles. Mm-hmm. But that trains you. Use it. Work with it. Instead of thinking about it like the saw going off in the background, take it to think about, okay, what is someone or something trying to get me to rethink here? Maybe I need to press pause on the video, go upstairs, go barefoot in the grass, listen, seek, ask, knock, see if something comes and finds me, and then start again. Reset the camera. Like every day is one of those. Mm-hmm. Every hour, every 10 o'clock, every 10:30, every 11, every 12, every 12:30, every appointment, every person, every camera angle. You have to be willing to let go. You know what? Reset. And let it all go, because that's the secret to be able to carrying it on and not letting it take you over, dude. Yeah. And I don't know. I went through like that was the gnarliest, longest. Whatever I've been talking about, dude.
It was fantastic, and I wonder how many. I mean, you bring so much energy to it, and I think that's unique. I don't know if that many people can bring that much energy to it. And able to focus all of it into what they want to do, which is part of what you described right there. This one of the most powerful parts, I think. But you went through your creative process, which I so often try to get from my guests, and most people can't describe it, but you describe it very, very well.
Thank you.
Yeah. That was pretty amazing. So thank you for doing that. And I mean, I think it shows in your videos. There's things that, you know, you haven't seen before, and that make a difference, I think. So thank you for bringing that to the community.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for navigating that wild ride there. That was
yeah. That's what I wish.
I don't even know what did we just talk about? Where that just, oh well.
That's when I wish that we were live, because I would love to see people's comments on it. I love how you balance out you just bringing, I mean, you're bringing so much, but then you recognize that when you bring so much, you are standing there vulnerable. And you then have to take that kind of football stance that you were doing. And I was trying to describe to the listeners who aren't seeing us right now. You recognize that you have to bring it to that degree, and it's so personal and it's so internal. And who knows if people are going to like it or not. But regardless, you then kind of put your feet out and you're ready to withstand any sort of negativity, which is inevitably part of it. It's just all around. It's this mindset so important. Yeah. So at this point, what keeps you up at night?
Well, I mean, the state of the world today and yesterday and this week and the last few days it's been a severe sort of impact on me. Like I do my best to stay out of all the politic and stay out of all I call it the rough.
Okay.
Because, a diamond in a rough is fine, but I'd rather not be a diamond in a rough.
You'd rather the diamond be in the fairway where you can see it.
You know what I mean? Put it on the fairway or put it in a nice glass case with lights shining on it. Yeah. I think state of mind in the last 2 years for me has gotten super important to protect. And so what ruffles my feathers is like a thing that's happening in the world like this that makes it impossible for us to just ignore it. I'm an empath. Turned into a crybaby in my 40s. And
same, by the way.
I think it's just it kind of lets people know, how much I care about it or what it means to me. I think as I've gotten older and as I was younger, I thought that it would protect me to not show them any of that. But the reality is like protection's not really truly real. In a sense that you want to protect your child and you want to keep the people around you safe and you want your home to be a place where they can grow and learn to be resilient. But without wind and without rain and without push, things aren't really very resilient. One of the things I could say about from being in Utah is it's done such a great job of keeping the world from it. They don't really let the people and the kids in Utah don't really see the outside world. And specifically, I say Park City.
Yeah, of course.
Because that's more so than Salt Lake City. But in Park City, the kids aren't really exposed to too much outside of like going to the U.S. ski team Olympic trials and the, practicing in Vancouver. They see worldwide, they're exposed to worldwide greatness at a very young age in Park City. They only see the excelled, incredible things of the world. And so that's all that they worry about. And there's something so fantastic about that. I love that those kids have maintained that perspective, and I hate it. Because I was raised in a world where like I had to go the long way around that house or that school or that place where I always had to, somebody's gonna, I don't want to go over there. Those guys are gonna talk shit. And really, I was just like, I just want to go somewhere safe, bro. And that's my biggest qualm with the world is that if you have something that's beautiful and you're so worried about getting beat up or getting bruised, you can't even recognize that it's a diamond in that rough.
Yeah.
You got to put your hand over it to keep it safe so that nobody hurts it. So what's the point of it being beautiful? If you just had a clear glass, safe plexiglass box, which is why they're at every drugstore and liquor store, so that you can stand behind them and like feel safe. That's my fucking qualm with life. That we have to sort of make this falsity that we're protecting something, but we're not. I wish we could lean entirely on the truth that it's going to be okay. I wish that we could not fear for safety of my own children, which are, I can't say children, but my two Shih Tzus. Like today, the wind blew the door open, and I heard some things proving that the door was open and the dogs were right by the door and they probably got out. And my heart went through the roof. We were both shaky-handed, and the illusion of safety, it's got me feeling like everything's going to be here forever. And I think that's what the world's problem is. I think that's what's happening. They're under this illusion of safety. And I'm not saying it's all going to fall, guys. October 14th and the eclipse. And okay, maybe. But the truth is that if you recognize how important it is right now and treat it with beauty, like it's going to go away at any point in time, you will treat it like it could leave at any point in time. And so, like, if somebody says something to Roger Molina hair and he can't take it and logs out and gets rid of Instagram and, you know, throws it all away, nobody will probably care. But if one by one, the people who are still putting things back together start doing that, imagine how long it'll take before everything falls apart. So the creators of the world, this is a rah-rah speech for the creators of the world who think that there's like a chance that what they say or how they say it or who they are trying to say it to, that there's relevance. If there's a thing that you say that you feel like is important and you're not saying it right now, that's what's got you backwards about it. That's what's got you feeling like, I don't know, I should run away, I should throw it away. It's because you know that somewhere, somehow, something's going to push back against you. And so what? You know, like, stand up to it, take it, be ready for it, think about it beforehand so that you're not caught off guard. And I'm not all saying like that we should also have some righteous mission or some big thing that we're going after. But if you do, and you do it well, and you focus on it, and you're obsessed with it, it will start to reveal itself. You know, like a diamond itself is a bunch of coal been pushed on for a really long time. And it gets pushed on and pushed on and pushed on, and little by little, it starts to turn into something else. And so to start it means you got to act like you're coal. And then as it starts to get refined, things happen and you just wake up with the blessing of it instead. That's where I'm at today. Like I'm a lucky person, dude. I'm so lucky that one day I put up one post that came to me in a dream, and it turned into another few that went viral, and Hairbrained and Samvia and Pivot Point and Behind the Chair and all the people that kind of stood behind that first post on day 1 or 2, or tell you the truth, I put it up on Sunday and I think they had all shared it by like Thursday. So it was 5 days. It wasn't just like overnight, it was a miracle. It was like Sunday they posted it, Monday they posted it, Tuesday they posted it. The revelation wasn't like a really fast thing that happens. It starts to happen overnight is when it switches, but it just 1, 2, 3, 4, pound. Oh, pound. Oh, pound. You're so great. Like Gerard posted on my picture and said, dude, this is the coolest and most innovative thing I've seen in a long time. I have that picture on my phone. That one's when it started to like sparkle. And then Sam said, dude, this is fantastic, bro. This reminds me of, what am I seeing here? Like, that's not toot boots my own horn. Like, I still think I have the biggest imposter syndrome ever. I feel like any minute now I'm gonna say something so stupid, all these people are gonna like, I opened it today and it said 2,000 unfollows, and I was like, oh crap. But then it was like same month, 27,000 follows. I was like, right. It's a hard pound sometimes, and you quickly wake up from it and go, oh, what does this mean? But it's worth the risk. It's worth taking and putting yourself on a limb if you feel like you have something precious, even if it's still just all the components that make diamond. If you feel like it's something that's precious and you feel like something's been put on your heart for a long time, to just do it. If it was an idea, if it was like something that you thought about that hairdressers would like, but you're not sure, just do it. And if you put it up and they hate it and nobody cares, you're right in the same spot.
Some will like it, some won't like it. So what? Somebody's waiting.
Somebody's waiting to see it, dude. Somebody's waiting to see what you have to say, who you are. Yeah. They've been waiting to hear your message that you've been keeping quiet because you think it's something out there is going to get you, and it's not. It's going to be fine. And if we can all start to speak it, then it'll be, dude. That's the reality, you know? If you wake up today going, I'm feeling good, I'm ready to attack this shit, I'm going to give myself 15 minutes before I leave the house to sit outside, feet by the roots of the trees, no shoes while winter's not here, and get like, dudes, show me what, I don't care who you talk to. If it's yourself, if it's the source, if it's your Aunt Lydia, you stand out there and say, come and show me what it is I'm looking for. I am looking for it. Anything that's listening to me, show me that you are. And I'll tell you that that's the truth. And if it only wakes up your own spirit, so what? Wake up yourself. It's a truth of it.
I love it. Absolutely.
I'm so tired for this. I feel like
No, it's so great. It's so
channeling
great.
Crap or something.
Yeah, no, you are, and you're sharing so much. So I have a question I call the wave the wand question. If I handed you a wand through the computer screen here, and I said, wave it and you can change anything about the industry immediately, what would it be?
I mean, standard, right out of the gate, more money for the people coming right in from the beginning. Sort of in this, I can't believe I'm saying this because I am a master stylist, but if somehow, some way, I went down 2% so that the young buck could get a couple percent more and be a little bit less hard for them to get started. I think we lose a lot of great minds because they're great minds and they start seeing, dude, if I keep going this way, I'm screwed. Because like most hairdressers who had something else before it, you spent all your money becoming a hairdresser and then you never really made it back for years and years and years. And truth be told, leaving my salon and coming down here, generating money is not easy starting over anywhere. Like I'm a 20-year hairdresser, I feel like I got it pretty locked, and starting over is a bitch, no matter where you are, no matter what level you're at. So the difference between, I guess, a successful stylist who's just starting out, like in California now with the new laws in California, the hourly rate coming in, and now it's like, and what are they getting paid? $20 an hour by that hour?
It stages in over years, but minimum I think is headed towards 20.
That's not, and I mean this with all the respect in the world, the predominantly hairdresser audience, but we should be getting paid more for what we do.
100%.
In those early stages is significantly higher increase, because once you have your clientele, build it and you're making money, okay. But in the very beginning, we should have more of a democratic way of billing a commission-based place so that the older stylists can, I don't know, help these young guys out.
I mean, I don't think a master stylist needs to take a pay cut in order for a junior stylist to make more money. I think what needs to happen is the client economy, the client community needs to recognize that to have a skilled, trained human stand behind them for 45 minutes or an hour or whatever, and deliver a service one-on-one, that's going to cost more money than they're used to paying. And I say this all the time, but I can't get a plumber to come to my house to stop a clogged drain for less than $200. The dude, drives his truck over. He comes in. He does a whatever for 15 minutes, and I get a bill for $200. But yet, somebody bitches at having to pay more than $40 for a haircut that took an hour. Are you fucking kidding me? That this is a trained, skilled person, trained and skilled and educated, continually educated for years, and you don't recognize the value of that more than $40. And I think I'm just throwing out numbers, by the way. Where I live in LA, it's more than $40. But look, there's some hairstylists who are still charging $40 because they're too scared to raise their prices. So I've been working towards this, as much as I can with what platform I have, to try to encourage people to raise their prices. Raise your fucking prices, because if you're still charging what you were charging 5 years ago, you are losing a lot of money. And understand, audience, and I hopefully they understand. Hopefully you guys understand at this point if you listen to us, regularly at all. The whole raising your prices, you have to look at yourself. Some of our audience has done a great job at raising their prices, okay? And so that maybe it doesn't mean you need to raise your, but the hairstylists that I so often talk to who you haven't raised your prices in 4 years because you're scared that your clients are going to go somewhere else, your income is significantly diminished over those last 4 years because the cost of everything else has gotten higher.
Yeah, dude. You can't even really keep up with the world you have to almost inflate at the same exorbitant rate. I mean, I just went up $5 on
100%.
everything just the last time I went up, but I almost have to do it again. It's like 6 weeks later.
What's $5? $5 is nothing. $5. I mean, you can't get a cup of coffee for $5. I was at Blue Bottle Coffee the other day, and I've been going to Blue. I go to a lot of coffee shops. I'm a coffee nerd. Okay, so I hadn't been to Blue Bottle in probably 8 months. My normal thing that I get at Blue Bottle, which is the whatever it's called, I swear is $4 last time I was in there. It's now $7.50. I swear, 8 months later, from $4.50 to $7.50. I looked at the menu and I'm like, holy shit. And there's a line of people to pay $7.50 and whatever else for the drinks that not too long ago cost $4 and $5. Okay. So I have this conversation with our hairstylists all the time. Don't assume that your clients are not going to be willing or able to pay an additional X amount of money for your service, because that's what's holding. It's the fear that is holding you back from raising your prices.
Yeah, that's a big wisdom there, and one I can even honestly take into my own truth. I had somehow thought that since I only see them every 6 weeks, I have to sort of take that off of my agenda. But no, I think I could even. They probably didn't even notice. Most of them didn't even notice last time that it even changed. I don't think I even explained it to a single person. I didn't explain it to one of them.
Thank you.
So yeah, it's no big. They don't even notice.
Okay, so the coffee shop that I go to regularly, it's a mom and pop. It's a single location. They apologize for everything. It drives me nuts. And they're good friends of mine. I'm like, why are you apologizing for raising the cup of your coffee 50 cents? You do not need to put an enormous sign right by the cashier's thing telling and apologizing for a 50% increase on your prices. You don't have to do that. Nobody else does that.
Yeah.
It's totally absurd. Anyway,
Park City's taboo to have prices at all on anything. So if you go into a place in Park City and they have prices tags, price tags on their stuff, you're like,
Park City is very wealthy.
Peasants.
Park City is very wealthy. I've get invited there sometimes. I have a couple friends who move there and they make a lot of money. And I know it's very high end and exclusive there. So I'm not surprised about that.
It's something I think's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
I'm like, how is that even a culture? But it is. It's so fancy. We're not worried about it. I love it though. It's a good, my mentality has honestly been on the other side. I grew up in a more modest family. Let's call it humble, right? So to get enough money to go to school and to get out of school and to be making nothing right in those first few years was a really hard transition. So, I mean, the thing that becomes, I guess, sort of important when you say raise your prices, you're worth it, is when you're a new hairstylist, you go, am I? Sure. Am I worth it though? Can I raise my prices? Do I got to start at 40? But my suggestion to the young hairdressers, if you're just getting started out and maybe you're just in school and you're going to start deciding how much you're worth as a hairdresser in your town, just get super savvy and put in your district, put in your area code and look up all the places around you and go do some research on what people out there cost. And you gotta be smart about what that is. Just because somebody charges $1,000 in Beverly Hills, that doesn't mean it's going to be the same. I'm here in Edwardsville, Illinois now. I'll go try to get $100 for a haircut in Edwardsville. They're going to be like, what is he, going to give me a potion or something too? So the reality is you got to know where, look around you and be smart. But if I could tell you one bit of wisdom, all you young hairdressers, because I'm still talking to you about this, is no matter where you begin, whether it's $40 or $60 or $100 or whatever dollars, no matter where you begin and put a price tag on that, don't let that define who you are from here on out. And at any point in time, allow yourself to get upgraded. Look at it like this. I started at a place in Hollywood or Pasadena, and they had a $100 haircut. That's where you started. And I was a brand new hairdresser, and I went to Paul Mitchell to school, and then I worked there for a year after that. So I felt like I really knew my stuff. And I was there with DJ Muldoon, and I had all these other fantastic coaches. Truth be told, by the time I got to that place, I realized I didn't know anything, and that I wouldn't even charge somebody that I didn't know at all $100 for a haircut, because I still was pretty shit at it. And then I moved to another place far away that was worth maybe $50 a haircut. And then I moved to another place where I was worth $75 a haircut. And now I live in a place now where everyone charges $40 a haircut. And the value still is in question because I've always had to be able to categorize it. So do yourself this favor. Be wise about what an average haircut is around you and start there. But as it builds, let it build and don't ever knock it back down to a place. The only value that you'll ever have in this world that people can feel is the value you have in yourself. So if you believe that you have that worth, you will have people in your chair that believe it. If you don't believe you have that worth, you will have the other people. So as you build up to a certain level, don't knock yourself back down for any reason. Yeah. That's my advice to the people in regards to all that. And I think it's important to really research. Like, don't just be like, I'm worth $1,000 now, and that's that. Move to a new city and start over again, and you'll just be reevaluating your own value again. So, but don't not take the journey either. Like, the best thing I ever did in my life was leave the place where I'm from, so I could find out who I am now that I'm in this new place. But now when I go back home, I recognize what I forfeited by leaving my hometown, and that's okay too. But for me, this journey was always about like, okay, now that I've achieved this level, try to keep that value in myself. So that's what I charge now. If I come into your salon and teach, or if I come into a place where I'm cutting your hair, like that's what I charge for this now. And you almost have to be willing to say, well, that's too much for you. Okay, well then I won't work today.
Right.
That's what it becomes, but you got to kind of stick to your guns to keep your value. Because if I sell CDs and I sell this guy one for $5, but I sell him one for $10, and later they start talking, they come back, yo, where's my $5?
Right.
That's the word around town. But if they both get it for $10 no matter what, and only one of them buys it, you're still at $5. So you just got to stay the course, like know what you're worth. Once you're worth it, that's what I'm worth now. And even if it's not just money, but know that I now have 1,219 haircuts I've done. Now I've done 1,656 haircuts. Now I've done 3,999 haircuts. Now I've done 10,000 haircuts. That never goes down. That ticker keeps ticking up.
Experience.
The experience is your Nico Abrio, one of my first mentors, said is the intangible equity is the kind you sweat for.
Yeah, absolutely.
The intangible equity was the kind you sweat for. So that's
100%.
The equity that you feel like, me, that's who I am. I've done 10,999 haircuts.
That's right.
Like, keep moving forward and building yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, normally I ask if you have any last words for the community, and I think you just delivered it in spades right there. So Roger Molina Hair on Instagram and TikTok. Everybody go to his Instagram. That's what you said, Instagram. I think you're bringing it a little bit better there, you said. So go there, check out what he's doing with his videos. It's really extraordinary. And thanks for bringing it today, buddy. It's great meeting you.
Yeah, likewise, dude. I appreciate it, and holding space for me, and like the way that you do such a fan. I know I talk so much, dude. If we ever do this again, I'm gonna be the one with the listening ears instead.
No.
But holding space for me in such a great way. I can tell you're kind and great person, and thank you for giving people something to listen to, and on a steady basis to constantly be doing something that hard for this long. Like if I could give you a gold star award, here, let me draw it on this wall back here.
I love it.
Because that's the flame, dude. That's the cord. That's the hold the line.
Thank you. That means a lot. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
I mean it.
All right. Hey, I wish the best for you, and I hope to meet you soon at a hair show or something one day.
Dude. If I'm ever going by or cruising by and like you go, hey, and like I turn out, hey, that's me. Like you're not gonna, yeah, exactly. You're West Coast, like little shoot, hey, I see you. Everybody turns Latino when they're from West Coast, no matter where you are, Chicago, New York,
Love it.
But yeah, dude, please don't let me walk by without being like, dude. Like,
awesome.
Anybody out there, no matter anybody that's watching this, if you're like, hey, you told me to shoot at you, I'm like, oh, just don't, don't hurt me. Just don't hurt me.
That's right. Even though Roger's like he's planted, he's got his feet on the ground, and he's bracing for impact. Hit him up. Hit him up if you like this episode. This is one thing we're trying to encourage our listeners to do a little bit more, because our guests love it when the listeners, DM them after the episode drops and say, hey, thank you for, spending the hour and bringing your emotion and your experience. And we really appreciate that. So we try to encourage the listeners to do that a little bit more.
Well, then I look forward to it. With wasteful expectation, I shall be looking through my DMs like, did you guys get that?
Love it.
We got a little while till it airs, but in the days to follow, I will be wasteful expectation.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Roger.